Hey, how's it going, Fiery 49 folks? Please excuse my voice in this video. Spring is sprunging in Kentucky, and my allergies are feeling the wrath of the blooming of multiple trees and other things. But kind of going to go over a quick update of what we're going to be doing with Fiery 49 over the next several days. We have time to work on it. St. Patty's Day went fantastic. We did a great job mechanically of getting there, getting back. We had no problems driveline wise with the truck, but driving 2 days through rain made it very apparent that it's time to address the seals and the soft parts on the truck. Spent 2 days with a very wet right foot because of a leaking cowl vent. We have lots of other parts that are, the seals are just old. They've dried up, they're degraded, falling off the truck. Quick rundown of what we're going to be installing on the truck: the big sheet of neoprene rubber here, the emergency lighting that's mounted on the cab roof of the truck. Noticed through some weep holes and stuff around the doors that water is getting in through the roof line. The lights are the only thing up there, so it's pretty obvious that the seals under the lights have let go. You can see around, someone has tried to caulk around the edges of the flashing lights before, so it's leaked before. We've not had issues with it, but it's started again. So instead of band-aiding it, we're going to get the lights pulled off, service the lights anyway. The Mars light needs to be taken off and serviced and greased and stuff. While everything's off, we'll cut new gaskets that properly fit and seal the emergency lighting and seal the roof line up. The headliner in the cab, still original. It's showing just its age. It's shrunk down. It's starting to pull back from the retainers. It also has just years of moisture exposure, probably some previous leaks, other stuff. There's some damage on the headliner and mounting screws. People, over the lifetime of this truck being used in whatever functions, mounting radios or other things, there's screw holes and some damage in the original headliners. It's too cheap not to replace and get a headliner back in properly fit. So cardboard, laminate, very simple headliner, 1949 style stuff. We'll get the headliner replaced. Before we put that back in, we're going to go ahead and add some butyl rubber sound deadener like we have in most of the cab floor and behind the seat to try to continue to deaden that tin can ringing sound these cabs tend to make, because they're not a modern vehicle. They don't have all the modern sound deadening and insulation and multiple layers and that kind of stuff. So while this is out and we're working on it, we'll try to improve our ride comfort by sound deadening with all that. Moving on down through here, not a soft part, but this truck is equipped with a SM 420 transmission, 4-speed, 4 forward gears and a reverse. One problem I have in driving the truck, and it makes it kind of difficult to deal with in tight spaces, is the shift pattern. It's a standard H pattern, 1, 2, 3, 4. No problems in the 4 forward gears, but when in reverse, to get into reverse, you have to push over and back. And what that does is my right leg winds up pinned against the seat by the shift lever. Makes it very awkward, hard to get to the brake pedal. No bueno. Could be dangerous. You know, when you need to stop and you can't get to it, you're either knocking the shift lever out of reverse. Just makes it cumbersome. So bought an aftermarket shifter so we don't have to mangle our original. I'm going to play with this and try to find a bend or maybe even shorten the length in some way that allows the truck to still have ease of rolling through the 4 forward speeds, but doesn't put the shifter in a position that pins my leg or anyone else driving to the seat. 49, it was fine. People dealt with it. People have gotten bigger, both in circumference and height. So it not working out great in the modern world. We're going to try and rectify that and make it a little easier, more comfortable, and safer to use all the gears in the transmission with that. Almost everything else piled up here is soft seals. It's cowl vent, pillar vents, battery door box, steering column, other things, all the soft parts that hold a space between the outside of the cab and the inside of the cab. Whole pile of that here. Our speedometer cable did break, so gauges were working, speedometer worked, but the cable broke several weeks ago. We haven't put many miles on the truck, but cable, it's easy to route. We'll get that done. There's actually a gasket around this too that needs to be replaced anyway, so while the gasket's being replaced, we'll slide a new cable in and get our speedometer working again. Vintage wiring, picked some of this up all along the outside of the truck, especially on the back side of the apparatus body. The wiring is exposed here in the back, and the wiring in 49 was a standard copper wire, but the insulation was a cotton cloth impregnated with either an asphalt or a varnish, and most of that has degraded, fallen apart. We've patched in wires to get the lighting working, but it looks like modern wire on the old truck. And just to get the vintage proper look back on the truck, we bought several sections of this reproduction wire. It is modern wire, and it has a modern sheath under this. But on the outside of that, they put in the cotton with tracer around it, so it looks like vintage wire. It will look correct when exposed on the exterior of the truck, but has the benefits of modern insulation and protection on it. So we'll deal with that and start getting our back end cleaned up, fix our shorts that have kept our spotlights and stuff from working, and take care of that. These are trim rings that go around the door panels in the truck. The truck, much like the headliner, the door panels are just cardboard pieces that kind of close off the door. We're going to take those off. One of these was missing when we bought the truck. The other has lost the retainer clip and has been sprung, and it won't go back into shape. So we're going to replace these out, get them fixed, get things tidied up where they don't rattle. And of course, while that's off, once again, more sound deadening in places where you can't see it to quiet the cab up. So we've got a pretty extensive laundry list of parts here. Nothing is huge, nothing is major, but this will take several days of getting the old gaskets cleaned off, scraped off, surface prep, and putting new gaskets on, sealing them down, taping down, letting the weather strip adhesive do its thing and take time. But it'll make the driving experience much more enjoyable. One, just keeping the water out of the cab and out of places it shouldn't be. That'll be a huge benefit. But also all these things, they avoid contact between metal parts, the shakes, the rattles, all the things that make noise in the cab, getting the butyl rubber behind things where insulation was never installed to start with. It'll make the cab much more enjoyable to be sitting in on a long drive, which is just about every drive because we're only doing 42 miles an hour. So we're going to work on that. We'll have several little clips showing what's going on, but pile of stuff heading on to Fiery 49. And if you're curious, cost of ownership, all of this is still less than $300. So, I can't complain. It's still a very cheap truck. It's still the cheapest vehicle to own, the easiest to maintain. As long as you're not going anywhere in a hurry, it's still a great vehicle to rely on. So it's not always convenient, but it's definitely cheap and easy to work on. So there are benefits to the old stuff, like on Fiery 49.